So now you can see our rice is already done. It's steaming hot. Now normally what we're going to teach you next is to cook fried rice, and normally leftover rice from the night before is kept in the fridge, and we use that to make fried rice the next morning. But before we go into the rice, we're gonna have to start the ingredients. Now I was telling you about knives first earlier. Now this was one of our first knives. It's Cuisinart. It's a good knife, but in terms of it being sharp and keeping its sharpness, it's not up that level yet. But it's a good knife to start off with because it's cheap, it's durable, and it cuts. But if you have the money to invest in knives, I'd go with the Global. It's durable, it's lightweight, it's cold forged, and it keeps it sharp for a long time. To test if a knife is sharp, just rub it through your nails and see if there's any friction or any roughness that you feel towards it. So we're gonna start making our ingredients for the fried rice. This is important for Philippine fried rice. My Ate Rose, one of our helps back home and who's taught me how to cook first, uses this sausage. It's called differently here in Canada. Back home it's known as Mandarin sausage. You might want to get the pork one, but I got the chicken and the pork one because it's cheaper. Now when you set, as you can see, my kitchen is really small because this is the apartment. The apartment is small and I'm stuck for space. What I have are leftover onions and bell peppers, the sausage, some frozen vegetables, mixed vegetables, which we're gonna boil for a minute or two, 2 eggs, and this plastic container which I use for trash. Now you want to set up your chopping board with a cloth underneath or a wet tissue. The reason for that is you don't want your chopping board moving while you're chopping. So we're going to start with our onion first and our bell pepper, since they're already done. The onion's a bit cold because the skin is a bit sticky because you put it in the chiller to preserve it. Now a lot of them will tell you that, which is true, eating a raw onion can be poisonous to you, but we're not eating a raw onion today, we're cooking it. This one goes over to the trash. I'm just going to give it a quick wash. Just rough chop it. My wife hates using this knife because it's too sharp, she tells me. Bell pepper. Just want small cubes of that. Don't want anything to go to waste. And since our water is boiling, I'm gonna estimate maybe 1/4 cup or half a cup of these. You just want it to boil for a few minutes. Now we're gonna go through our eggs. My wife and I still haven't bought any egg beater, as you might call it, or whisk. So I'm gonna use a fork, which you can use too. My pastry chef teacher, Chef Junjun de Guzman, always taught me that when you crack eggs, you have to use both hands. There's some eggshells which you can fish out using the egg itself. And then you can beat it. You don't beat it by just stirring it, you beat it in a circular motion. That way it aerates it. And that's thick enough. Since we chop vegetables with this and we're going through meat, we need to wash it. And again, as I told you, our space here is limited, so you have to make do with what you have. Someday, if you decide to come abroad, you might start out in an apartment like this, which is very small. But you gotta arrange your kitchen the way you're comfortable with. You need to wash that. Make sure no soap is left. I'm gonna go through the meat, and I'm just gonna maybe 2 sausages is good. It's probably done by now. You got it for 1 minute cooking. You want to strain this, and right now you see that smoke, it's still cooking. So you want to stop the cooking process because you don't want it to go mushy. So I run cold water over it. Alright? Just leave that there to cool down. So we're going to go with our sausages. And when you're cutting, we're always taught in the kitchen to clip our hands. Now I know some people are used to cutting like this. It's dangerous because you could go straight to your finger, but when you clip your hands, it's that easy. Now the fried rice is usually a meal which we have for breakfast back home. I don't know, with some Filipinos they have it for lunch. It's served in a lot of Chinese stores back home. My Nanay Rose would always cook it with a fish in which our province is called buwad. To the north they might call it as daing. And they mix it with the fried rice. It's fried rice, so practically anything goes on with it. So what I have here is my wok. I'm gonna heat it up. Put maybe a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of oil. I guess that's a bit too much, but it's okay. Normally you would have chopped garlic, but for me, I'm lazy sometimes, so I buy chopped garlic from No Frills. You can get it, or you can make your own. If you want to make your own, just get a container, chop some garlic, mix it with a bit of oil, and store it in the fridge. If you want to extend it for maybe 5 more days or a week, then I'd say the freezer, and bring it out only if you need to. I'm gonna add my garlic first. So it's fried rice actually, so the oil's not that hot yet. Just wait that to sizzle before you add the other things. Now since I'm using a non-stick wok, I gotta use a wooden spoon so it doesn't scratch the surface. If you have a plastic one, that can withstand the heat of the oil and not melt, use that. You can smell the aroma of the garlic. I'm gonna add my vegetables to it. My red bell pepper and onions. Some people would like to just flip. You don't really need to, you just have to mix it well. When you're using a wok, cook in high heat. I'm gonna add my eggs. Then we're going to add the sausage to give it that flavor. I'm just going to take this off the heat while I get my rice. Sorry. Just gonna put it in the bowl. Basically, I'm gonna put in around 2 cups of rice. It's an estimate I'm doing right now. But you could put 2 cups of rice to that or more. Normally this rice would be cold because it's from the leftovers from last night, right? Just bring it in and start mixing your fried rice. Add the vegetables that we drained to give it that color. Now if I had dyeing, I would use dyeing or buad. It just gives it that extra flavor of saltiness. But you can't cook dyeing here in Canada openly or in the States because our neighbors are going to complain. They're not used to the smell of dyeing. Right? Take it off the heat. Give it a bit of salt. And some black pepper. prefer the coarse black pepper, but they didn't have any in the supermarket when I was looking for it. So this is powdered black pepper. Just give it a mix. Then we're gonna get a bowl to serve it. We got this bowls, was given to us. You can buy them in IKEA. It's cheap and good quality bowls in IKEA. Can probably feed around 3 to 4 people, depending on how big you eat. And this is your fried rice.